So now we're going to do a punch-down operation. You've seen the tools and learned what they are. Now we're going to see them in action. The tools that we need for this operation are out already. We might need to use a cable cutter if we have a piece of media sticking out of a surface-mounted or recessed wall plate, and we've got 3 or 4 feet of media hanging there. We may need to trim some of it. Or if we pulled some cable out of the box to make some patch cords, we could use the cutter to cut it to 10 or 15, 20 foot lengths, whatever. We're also going to be using the cable stripper to get access to the wires. And of course we're going to use the punch down tool because that's the tool to use when we're attaching media to a jack or to a patch panel. Here I have the consumable items. I have a piece of media, and let's just say this is hanging out of the surface mount surface mount box on the wall or whatever. Here's our media. It needs to be attached to this jack. This is a category 5E jack. It's a Leviton, rated for up to gigabit Ethernet. Now the things that we're concerned about are what standard are we going to follow? What's the wiring in the building? The common one today, 568B, is the one we will follow. And if you look at the side of the jack, you can probably tell the different colors that are along the edge there. Now, can you see the B or the A, which indicates the standard for the color for that standard? So because we're following the B standard, you can see orange, orange white, green white, blue white on this side of the jack. And on this side over here you see solid blue, solid green, solid brown, and brown white. So those are indicating which groove here on the jack the wire will be attached onto. Alright, so you're going to see this in operation. So the first thing I want to do, take my strippers, strip back a couple of inches of cable, right, go around, score the jacket very carefully, open it up, nice cable stripping operation there. Alright, I got this stuff that's part of the manufacturing process. Some people say you grab this and pull on it to strip back the jacket, but I believe that's not a good way to get access to the jacket. You should use a cable stripper for that. Okay, so there's my 8 twisted pair media in this category 5E cable. So I'm going to untwist everything, start to get them straightened up a little bit, because they're each going to go to a different spot on the jack, as you will see. Now, you don't actually have to twist these completely apart, because there's different techniques you can follow to install the wires. Okay, so when it comes to the jack, let's look at how we orient the jack. This part is what we refer to as the front of the jack, the part that would stick out of the faceplate on the wall, and you would connect your media into, right? That's the front of the jack. The back of the jack, obviously, is the other end. When you're installing the wires onto the jack, there's a certain order to do it. The order is start at the back and move your way forward. That way, the ones that are installed in the back are underneath the rest of them. If you started towards the front and worked your way to the back, by the time you got to the back, those other wires would be in the way, and now the 2 that go on the very back, which is blue on this side and blue-white on this side, would have to be on top of the other wires, and they'd always have pressure on them to be pushed up. So that's not proper. So the proper installation technique would be start at the back and move to the front. Alright, so blue on this side, blue-white on this side. So I'm going to get my punch-down tool ready to go, and I'll get out my 2 blue wires, and I'm going to set the blue on the side that it's got to go onto, and the blue-white on the side it has to go on to. And I start to get them into the groove on the jack. Okay? Now, they're ready to be punched down. I'm going to take my punch down tool, and remember, the orange side is the cutting side. The cutting blade is on that. So when I orient this tool on here, I want to make sure I'm on the outside to cut off the excess wire. If you notice, we didn't use any scissors to trim anything. We don't have to. We use the punch down tool for that. So I'm going to take the tool and take that tip, take the U part of the tip, and put it right over the groove on the jack where the wire is laid in. And I'm going to push down on the tool until it pops, right? And the wire was installed into the slot, pushed down, making the connection, and cut off. I'm going to put the tool on the blue wire side, do the same thing. Line it up, push straight down, and away goes the extra blue wire. So I continue the process on up. Next will be the green pair, green-white on one side, and then green on the other side. So I just line it up. Come on, green, get over there. Let me route this around that way. Get the green over here. Get it started right there, and get the green-white right there. Now, as long as I have the wire on top and I can push it down in, I am good to go. Alright, come on there, little green wire. You're going in there whether you like it or not. There we go. Alright, push it down in. Same thing on this side. Get it started, push. Now, one thing to pay attention to is you see I'm with the tool, I'm just pushing down until it pops. I'm not doing the jackhammer thing and pat, 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 and I'm not rocking it back and forth or side to side. I'm going straight down with the tool because we don't want to ruin the teeth that are down there. We want them to grip that wire pretty tightly. So we got the blue pair and the green pair installed, and we're working our way towards the front. Now the orange pair both go together on this side, and the brown pair both go together on that side. So I'm going to take my two orange pair, and I'm actually going to let them be twisted back together a little, and then separate them, put them both in there, and punch them both down. Now could I take and lay all 8 wires in and then punch them all down at one time? Of course I could. I'm just taking my time and showing you this operation, but you'll see people that do things that way as well. Do I have them in the right place? Brown, brown, white. Looks good. Roger that. We'll line up the tool, make sure I'm cutting on the outside, and there we go. Completely installed. Now you have some quality control checks to pass, right? First thing, you don't want the jacket to be way back here and have a lot of wires exposed here and have those wires be all untwisted. That won't do. You want to have your jack come up pretty close to it. It's okay if it comes up from this angle and goes on from the side depending on your situation, but you don't want to have too much of the wire exposed. You can see I pretty much have minimum exposed there. The second thing to check is the color code correct? That may seem silly because we looked at each one, but trust me, sometimes things move. It's less likely here than it is in a plug, but it does happen. So I'm just going to eyeball it. Make sure that each color is where it should be, and everything looks good there. The last thing to check is when you're looking at each one of these little grooves, All right, there's a groove and the wire is in the groove. Is the wire down all the way into the groove? Because inside that groove is this metal cutting, you know, they're like metal teeth, and the wire gets pushed into them, and the insulation on the wire is cut during the installation, and that's what makes the contact between that set of metal teeth inside there and one of the conductors up here in the front of the jack. There's continuity between one of these and in one position back there, and all 8 of them have continuity to a different position there. So I want to make sure that all 4 wires are all the way down on each side. And once I have that, I'm good to go. All right, so there's your punch down operation.